I love that.
Me too.
I love it.
It's
I
nice.
love it. Every time I hear it, I love it more.
I'm just gonna release an extended loop so you can get the whole beat, the whole track.
That would be nice. That would be nice. I mean, we should be making shorts because apparently that's what helps
Nope.
algorithms. But I think
Long form. Long form will come back. I want 4 to 5 hour level up loops.
we want we want to do the opposite of Vine.
Yep. Opposite Vine.
Yeah, Vine was 30-second clips. We
Yep.
want to do 4-hour clips minimum.
Whole goddamn tree. I don't want a Vine. Welcome to Level Up.
Well, welcome to Level
Everybody.
Up. Welcome. So, here's the thing, man. Tonight we have an awesome guest.
Yeah.
But before that guest, we got to talk about something that I recently found out about because of, dates and times. It was about a year ago where we did that guy.
We did that guy together?
Together, yeah, we did that guy together. He was up first.
Wow.
He was up
first. It seems like just yesterday.
It seems like just yesterday, but we had Charlie, and we asked him on. We were like, "Hey, trying to figure out this thing."
Hey, Charlie, you feel like being a guinea pig for this idea?
Right, and Charlie is still our highest viewed episode, so it's
Charlie Stickney, like legend.
So Charlie Stickney, and then a year later, not to our planning because that would like make it seem like Todd and I are better than we are, and we are not. We've got Conor Hughes on tonight, which is Charlie's artist, which is really cool.
It's really neat.
It's like we planned it, but we did
Happy
not. Like
doing it together with another guy for the first time anniversary, Travis.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I feel that was a level up. We should level up together today.
Yeah, let's do it. I wasn't ready for the segue. Let's do it.
Sorry.
What?
All right. So now, before we get Conor, there's a couple more things I want to clean house a little bit and talk about our December plans.
Oh, sorry.
I want to talk about our December plans, just because we haven't talked about it publicly in the air. So in December, Todd and I are gonna interview 2 publishers that we feel are leveling up. That are publishers that are doing some stuff. They've been around for a bit, but we feel like they're going to be doing some stuff. So we've got Black Box and we've got Band of Bards, the 2 Bs.
The B&B. Yeah.
So we're going to talk to a publisher. We're going to talk to the publishing, the 2 people who are in charge of publishing over there. And we're going to level up with them. So it's the same show, just we're going to talk to publishers for the month of December, just to try something new. It's going to be And then I haven't even mentioned this to Todd. I had an idea.
Oh boy, we should definitely brainstorm new ideas together on live.
Yeah, right now. I mean, Conor. What's Conor doing? Like he's just sitting back there. Conor, we'll get to Conor. What about? Because next year we're probably going to have some returning guests because let's be honest, I haven't leveled up as much as I should to meet these high level people.
I'm trying to help.
What about when we invite someone back, because we've already done the tour, we deep dive, we catch up on the new things that's come out, but then we deep dive into one of their properties, whatever that is, like a deep dive.
And me and my strong opinions on things, but you know what? I like it.
So
Sounds
we
good.
have Conor Hughes. Conor Hughes was supposed to be here last week. Things happened, but we're here this week. So let's show him what he's been waiting for, because he doesn't even know. Because we asked him if he saw the show, and he said he has not, which is fine. That's not uncommon.
I mean, it's a majority of people, to be fair.
Right. We've seen our views. We know.
I just meant world in general.
Oh, right. Show him.
Yeah, let's do it. Hey.
Hey there. That was amazing. I was not prepared for that, I'll have to admit.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Level Up.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being on. And I love this. I love the white ash sandwich that is this year. That's very appropriate.
It's very in fact, actually even more appropriate, Connor. This just came in the mail
today.
Oh,
wow. Yep.
Pretty.
Probably just got those in, and I actually just got a box myself. So
looks hard.
Yep. It's a pretty solid looking book, and I haven't actually looked at my copies yet. I only just got them in recently, but Charlie was very happy with how it came out.
Looks great.
So. Yeah.
I may have missed that boat.
It'll come back around.
I would say I have a feeling I'll have another shot at it.
On the theme that you were mentioning before, how we're coming back. We're perennial. We come back.
Mm-hmm. If you miss something, it'll be back. You can catch up very easily.
we got to keep the arboreal theme here.
Yeah. But speaking of hard, hard books.
Yeah.
This one's metal.
Yeah.
Mine is metal. Travis.
I've got a few of those. I don't have that many. Charlie's got to send more of these.
And it's the fifth one out of 100.
He sends me plenty. Yeah. There's only a few of those.
This was very hard to get.
Yeah.
I had to fight off many thirsty nerds to get this one.
There are many of us. Many.
We are dozens.
Dozens. Yeah.
Given Kickstarter, there's a lot more than dozens.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would have said dozens, but there are a lot.
There's
more
dozens of thousands.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know this, Connor, Todd and I are huge White Ash fans. We love the series. We love your art.
I bought it twice because I got it from Scout.
We're super excited. And it's your fault you're on the show, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, I had done something and gave you credit, and then you're like, I'm going to friend him, and then that was all I needed. I was like, clearly he's asking to be on the show.
I'm begging.
And begging.
Yeah, I'm chasing for sure.
Yeah, smart.
He's clearly begging. But I looked at your career, to prepare for the show because I knew you did this. I talked to Charlie Adnan. I know about the Walking Dead stuff. We're good friends with Pat Shan, so we know about all the covering you've done for Pat Shan. But one of the things that Todd and I have not read that we need more info about is...
We're starting?
We're starting.
No, it'll be big. Say it and I'll bring it up.
It'll be big? All right, we'll get it big.
Where's the...
he's not... he's
this one?
This guy.
Am I supposed to do something here?
That's the one.
I got it. No, yeah, don't worry. I got it. It's definitely on me.
So, as far as we can tell, this is the beginning of your career. It may not be. But where are we?
I'd like to know this because I think I have the beginning of your career in terms of.
Oh, you have something before this?
I think it's before this, but we can hear about this.
I hope not, because.
Well, what do you got, Todd? Hold on, I want to see what Todd's got. Todd says he's.
I thought years wise, I thought this was first.
Yeah. I was in the graphic canon with a story that featured about the Monkey King. Yeah, I have a few copies of that behind me. I can go grab it.
Ooh.
Show and tell. I'm excited.
But maybe Millar World was first.
Cover. This is the actual cover. It's reversed on the camera.
Oh, but. Comic Vine credit. This is the cover it credits you with.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think
and Comic Vine is law.
Yeah. There was this, and then I also have I did a few pages in of Twisted Savage Dragon Funnies.
Oh, I didn't get that.
Oh, all right.
But that was very small, and so was Miller World. Yeah, I mean, basically all three of those would be really sort of like my main published work.
Hold on. We didn't see Savage Dragon, and we love our friends who've got their start at Savage Dragon. Oh, John, did you see Savage Dragon?
I did not, but I thought you were going to say we're big Savage Dragon guys, and I'm like, that's not true.
No. We love our friends who've worked at Savage Dragon, which would all work with Savage Dragon, so therefore we have a respect for Savage Dragon.
I have immense respect for it. I just can't break into it.
I love Eric Larson allowing all these people, like if you kind of like are in his zeitgeist and you do work and you're good, like he'll be like, you can do this thing, which I think is really cool.
No, he's very generous with putting, like, especially like me in that book. I don't think the work was quite up to par, but I guess I would probably say that no matter what. But
do you? I would say, are you one of the people that you also feel that about like something that just came out, like a Walking Dead cover?
Yeah. I mean, generally,
so you can't be trusted.
I can't. I mean, Charlie will definitely make fun of me all the time, where I'll complain about this kind of thing on my Twitch channel all the time. Where something will have just come out, and I'll already be complaining about it. I'm currently working on the game 3, and sometimes there's even early pages in that issue where I'll be like, I mean, obviously you can go back and change those though if they're really just something really dramatic, but
because Charlie would definitely keep with you this long if he thought you were just terrible.
Terrible, yeah. No, I mean,
one of these days he's gonna get it.
To me, despite all the
because that's what I hear the most. White Ash and Galarian, just the art is what lets it down. It's only the story. That's what I hear constantly. Except it's amazing and it fucking couples with the story perfectly.
Yeah, the story
one of those
is definitely
two.
pulling all the way as far as the my contribution anyway. But yeah, I hope people like it. I definitely think the art has improved over like since like issue 1. I've definitely integrated more. I've mainly I've let myself go in some sense, where before early on I was much more careful and eager to be, I don't know, maybe professional or something like that nature. And I increasingly I've gotten looser and looser and looser, and I think it's gotten but also getting better in other respects like composition or whatever. And so I think I definitely think it's improved.
I think it's great. I mean, I still think issue 1 is excellent, and it's super fun to reread and go through, but it's definitely evolved throughout the time. But I got it. I'm segueing. Hold on. It's evolved hugely through, and it's really fun to see. It's really fun for long projects to see artists evolve and see where they are, and it's great. So speaking of evolution, this very beginning, where did Millar World come from? Where did these early jobs come from? How did you break in initially to the comics industry?
Sure. Well, Savage Dragon was actually through Michel Fife, who I knew in New York, through the New York SVA comic scene, and he managed to hook me up with that, and that was pretty lucky. And then honestly, I mean, as far as graphic canon goes, I think they sort of put out a petition maybe online, and then artists were just able to submit. And I've always liked the Monkey King as a story, and I think okay, now it's coming back to me. It's been a while. Been a while. Yeah, we were able to pick any kind of folk tale or fairy tale or myth, and then submit that work to them, and then it was either accepted or it wasn't. And luckily, it was accepted.
Neat.
And then, cool. As far as Miller World contest goes, I mean, they put that out online, and I just worked. I had something that I just worked up, and I submitted that, and they liked that. Funny enough, that's actually the same thing that I showed Charlie that he liked. It basically involved a scene where a woman was waking up in a scenic, idyllic, kind of cabin type. Yeah, but it's also a little bit more modern cabin, and everything's, she's just sort of slowly waking up, cooking or making her coffee or whatever, and then something, then Wake Me Up Before You Go plays, and then basically she immediately knows that that is the alarm for a bunch of cops or federal agents coming in and sweeping into her house, and she arms up or whatever. It was sort of it was definitely a reference or something to Lost when they get to the hatch, or something like that. Neat. Anyway, so I submitted that, and I was one of the six artist contestants on that, or maybe 6. Yeah, I think artist penciler contestants on that was selected. And it was amazing. I got to work on a thing that involved Chrononauts, which was really cool.
Oh, cool. That's what I was going to ask, is which property was it?
They assigned, I assume, whoever they preferred for
sure
whatever.
But it was Chrononauts.
Yeah, it was Chrononauts. Yeah,
Sweet, neat. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
And this was right around, because you said you submitted them. They were both right around the same time, so you kind of had, you independently won art competitions
yeah. I suppose. I mean, Graphic Canon,
from.
I think was a few years was possible, like at least a few years before Miller World.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. And
that was a couple of like the first like steps into it, was
yeah,
submitting to these
yeah, for sure.
things
I mean, I was
and
at the
getting your
time I was
name out
also
there.
doing a lot of like freelance stuff, like smaller things and things that never really, kind of like
Truly
went too
independent
far.
stuff.
Yeah, like or just yeah, spec stuff. I was
Sure.
doing like, I was working with some writers, like on like different projects, but also like game cards or like,
Hmm.
if someone wanted like a toy designed or things like that. Like I was just doing lots of like small gigs,
Yeah, just
and
picking up
because
whatever
before
was
that I
around.
was, yeah, 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 like post like whatever was posted online, I would try and get on that.
Nice.
And at the time, because before that, I was a graphic designer, so I was working on that kind of stuff mainly to make money or whatever, and then I was
Sure.
also doing art on the side. So yeah, and then of course
Nice flip.
Charlie put up a post on Reddit, and I think Pencil Jack
Ooh.
and Deviant Art. I think he might
Oh
also
wow.
mention another place that he put it up,
Oh
and
man.
I applied to both Deviant Art and Reddit, and that's how we first met.
What year was this then? Roughly?
Roughly, I want to say, uh, maybe like 2016, around that
Okay.
time. I'd already been one of the winners of the Miller World thing, art
Right.
contest of that year of 2016, and so I think it was around that time. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
Well, and that going back to that Miller thing was the first year, if I'm not mistaken, that he
that's
did
right.
it because he only did it for like 2 years. He said he was going to do it
Yeah.
forever. He only did it for 2 years. He also recently said that he paid everyone uh, overpaid what the standard was, which is not true because I know what people got paid there. But I'll leave Mark alone.
$45.
It was 2016.
It's been a minute.
I was happy. I was very happy with my experience. I mean, obviously, I mean, who wouldn't be? I suppose to some extent, but
Which is a good
Right?
rate, right?
I was, I mean, in general, comic art rates are, they can vary and they can be rough, and they haven't changed in a long time in many regards. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
I was happy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, and I didn't mean on that. It was funny. He made a big deal about it the other day, and then like a lot of former contestants were like, actually,
Wow.
Well, it's okay. He never puts his
but
foot
I
in his mouth other than that. So,
right, he's never. That's
it's
not
fine.
allowed. And then you worked the Savage Dragon thing was really. I was not aware of that. Todd it wasn't on our list of
I would
because
have
we
had a
definitely would have
graphic.
grabbed it. So where is Twisted Savage Dragon? Was that because you were on his forums and stuff, or where? How did you get on that?
So I knew Michel Fife, who was big in the
Okay.
New York comic scene, and he still is, and he's a wonderful comic artist that he does like a lot of he loves like sort of an 80s comic vibe, but also he makes it sort of like grungy in New York. He's got an excellent style, and he just loves comics. He's a very
Yeah.
generous person with his time and energies, and yeah. So he brought me in on with that project. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know where
Nice. Nice.
he found you? Like from?
Well, we just knew each other through the
Oh, it
like
was just
New
through
York
like
the
the
New York.
grapevine.
It was like I think we might have done like Mocha or like,
Sure.
which is in New York. I forget what the acronym is for that, but yeah, there's like Mocha and there's like
Hmm.
it's just kind of like the SVA New
Yeah.
York scene,
Yeah. You just
comic
ran
scene.
into each other, and it just
Yeah,
became. It's like, oh hey, you became aware.
yeah. My a buddy of mine, he interned with FIFA and then also some other people like Dean Haspiel in New York, and I think that's sort of like vaguely also how I knew him. But I think I also knew him before that. It's been a few years, but yeah,
Yeah.
we just sort of like worked in the same. We were in the same spheres in some sense. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
So what?
that New York scene was a great way to get to know people for sure, and that's of course I went to the School of Visual Arts in New York for part of that reason. So yeah,
I don't have a graphic for that either.
yeah.
The school because we don't normally ask that
Sure.
question. I don't know why we just kind of stick to the comics. We
Yeah,
don't tend
where
to
your
ask
training
where
comes
they
from.
get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Well,
think
to
it's
be fair, we
necessarily
don't have a lot of artists either, so I
That,
feel like you're writers and you're like, well, you learned English in school at some point and then decided to
yeah,
become a writer. But with artists, it is very much like there's those self-taught like nose
yeah.
to the grindstone guys who just like churn out work until somebody sees it. And then there's the people who go to school and then churn out work and nose to the grindstone until somebody sees it.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Some people they just pick up the how to learn how to draw the Marvel way, and they could just
Oh
go.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
unfortunately, some not all of us have such a linear.
Right.
We take a more
I
circuitous route.
remember reading that and then that didn't work out.
and then you
And
didn't
then I
draw the
didn't draw the
Marvel way.
Marvel way, and I went, maybe not.
And that's
So,
okay.
oh yeah, I'm good
Peter
with
Lard.
it.
Peter Lard showed me how to draw a Ninja Turtle, but that has not helped
It
at all.
hasn't.
Though I do draw a
So
main
I
Ninja
can
Turtle.
wait. Oh, I should be asking for more remarks from you then. I want Ninja Turtles on the books you send me.
Only Ninja Turtles, though. I can
Just
only draw
Raph,
Ninja
please.
Turtles.
Thank you. Uh,
And I can draw a good Ninja Turtle. I
you
will even
draw a
say
good
a
Ninja
good.
Turtle.
I have also, you know
Can
how
that be your Can that be
Connor,
your
you're an
gravestone?
artist. We're gonna hold. We're great. Okay, so maybe you know the artists who are at like a Comic Con, and all they have is the Ninja Turtles
Hmm.
work, right? They paid for a cover to be made because you can
Hmm.
pay for a cover to be
Hmm.
that. Like I feel like to get my cred, instead of doing it with writing, just
You
draw a
should do
Ninja
a
Turtles
Ninja
cover.
Turtles cover.
I think I can pull
You
it
should
Okay.
off,
do that. Please do that.
and then I can add Ninja Turtles on the list.
And then you can make a T-shirt and a sticker, and
Yeah,
yeah,
Right? The whole thing, whole
just the
nine
Ninja
yards, whole
Turtles.
9 yards. And then I stop writing and I just
You
make
just do
Ninja
Ninja
Turtle
Turtle
swag.
fan art from then on.
So let's get to White Ash.
Is that what came next?
yeah.
You
I
did
think so,
Millar
right?
World, and then you did the Deviant Art, which Deviant Art. And,
DeviantArt, classic.
oh,
I wasn't down that much, but I think he posted there, and then also, as I said, Reddit.
and then you hooked up with Charlie from there, and
That's right.
what came next?
So
Well, we worked on. He submitted the script to me, and then we worked on the first. I want to say like maybe 10 pages, 6 pages, and then we had that. We got that going, and we put that on Kickstarter, and that was the first sort of like seed investment that we used to bring about. From there, we sort of like we went and we did issue two ahead of time, and then we had issue two completed for I think the second campaign. I want to say something like that. It was pretty like we had most of it done.
Nice. So
Yeah,
you were already in the like, it's time to just move
roll.
right
roll.
from the get
Yeah,
go.
I was sort of ready to. Really wanted to commit to like a longer term project. I mean, as you can see, there wasn't that many. There was a lot of like spotty stuff, and I'd been doing a lot of spotty stuff for a while, and I was eager to sink my teeth into something that like what just like what Charlie had created, you know, which was a world that I definitely have a lot of affinity for, like a natural affinity, like and I sort of get what I think I get what Charlie's like sort of putting down with what his intent is for as far as the story goes and all that. And and then of course we did character designs. We sort of worked through, we definitely being strangers at the time, we definitely worked through some of those things and then as basically once the first Kickstarter happened, and I said, "Hey Charlie, would you mind if I stream the process on Twitch? I'll take out the words so that people can't read the story." Because at the time I didn't know if he would be okay with that, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." And like that helped us actually just get to know each other a lot better, I think. And then of course, eventually we met like in real life for the first time in San Diego Comic Con, which was the first
Mhm.
Comic Con both of us had really done.
That's
So
cool.
yeah.
That's neat. Did
well,
you?
and for White Ash,
Mhm.
as me starting a Kickstarter, um, it's your design that really sold it. I'm not talking about your art because your art is
Thank you.
fantastic, it's amazing, but all the graphics you've designed, because I know you're in charge of all the graphics on the Kickstarter and like the elements of that. Like you sell it's when what I loved about Charlie when I first started Kickstarter, it wasn't just the book because I needed the book to get it. It's an experience, right? It's like an opening package, like a Reebok day, and you have the pretty box and stuff. You talk about how you do the box and the design and the stickers and all the stuff that goes with it. That I think is why White Ash, one of the reasons why White Ash does so well on Kickstarter, because the story concept, it's not crazy like mind blowing. But it's all the elements together that go, oh, you've got to read this, and then Charlie knows how to tell that story really well. You know how to tell it really well, and especially when you go back and look at, oh, that was a dwarf. Once you figure out that stuff, oh. Yeah. He clearly was a dwarf, and I kind of missed it. That's awesome, like trying to figure all that stuff out, and that all goes to you, man, and it's amazing, literally amazing, like how well you put the world together and how it feels so branded and amazing.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you. As far as like you were talking about the packaging goes and stuff like that, I think Charlie does a really great job of making sure that you feel like you're getting something that someone put a lot of care into, like when it arrives at your door. Like he's very good at that. I'm not as great at that. Like Charlie, he's got a particular knack for it, which I think comes from the fact that he's had his comic book collection from when he was a kid, and he keeps everything in really good condition. Like I'm much more like haphazard with like my own stuff, and so I think that's a skill that he certainly has. And as far as
I dropped design this on the way of getting here. I hear it. I'm the same
well,
way.
Yeah, so I can see how that would be. Just don't drop it on your foot.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as far as like
what he's saying though, part of that package is how the Kickstarter looks, and it's funny because we stepped on each other wanting to ask a question, and yours is kind of what mine was. Is the Kickstarter design, and like when you go to the website and you go to the campaign, it is one of the best that you'll see in terms of how it's laid out, how it's presented. Here's like what we'll give you to get you like, here's your little nummies, and be like, oh, you want to see the rest, right? And then all of the rewards, everything is very pretty, and it's all very well done, and it's one of the few that I don't go, I would change this, and I don't like where this is. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Because I didn't get in on White Ash the first campaign. I'm not gonna say that I was. I don't know how many people can actually say that, because I bet you it's a small percentage compared to what it is now. But
but still more than an average Kickstarter.
No, it's still good. But what was that process like learning? Because those are also pretty early Kickstarter days that you were kind of jumping into, and like, yeah, we'll have other people like fund this and we'll get it out. I think one of the biggest level ups that you can get, especially in your niche, is how do you come about presenting the Kickstarter like that? What's that process look like? And like, what's some of the big things you learned over how many campaigns have you done at this point?
Quite a few.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care to like put a number on it while I'm on the spot, while I'm being recorded, but quite a few. Yeah. I mean,
I'll get that answer for you. You're good. I'll get it for you.
as far as it goes, like
at least 10, right?
It was early days on Kickstarter, but there were definitely some things to follow. Like we definitely looked to Skies of Fire as an excellent example of a campaign on for an ongoing book that was releasing, issues or self-contained issues.
Yep.
And it wasn't just selling based on like one aspect or one, sort of like a niche thing. It was sort of, it was trying to just put together a good book that you would get, and you would be able to get multiple issues of it possibly. So we followed that model for sure. And then from there, it was just a matter of governing the aesthetics to make sure that people felt like these were part of the world, or these were, as all the campaigns do now, I think in general, where people feel like this is integrated into the art style of the world. And maybe that has to do with the fact that, the person who is making doing the pencils and inks for the book is the same person that's also doing the graphic design for the Kickstarter campaign.
I think that's huge.
That probably just naturally correlates. So I
Yeah.
think the first one, I think I had Alex Dad cutting up a giant pancake, and that was the portions of the Kickstarter funds.
Mm.
And I, just trying to integrate with a full illustration. I think people
Yeah.
like that maybe.
Yeah. No, that is interesting because like having the artist not everybody would be able to be like, I'm going to do this. It would have been like a whole process of, hey, I want this to happen. So you need to talk to like this guy, and then this other guy is going to make that happen. You're like, I want to do this.
Well, that's what part of what helped working together with Charlie on Twitch was that like we sort of developed this relationship where that kind of thing became much easier to do, I think, than if you were just like emailing people, emailing your collaborators. Not that I'm necessarily saying there's anything bad about that, but I think for us that made it easier.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I tried to copy and could not get my artist to give me a good thing was the graphic of the
pie chart,
the pancake.
Yeah.
The pie chart.
The pie chart. I think it was the second one. Don't you have a pizza in the second
chart?
one? Or wasn't there something different? Or maybe just the pie?
The pancake.
I could be wrong if it was a pancake or if it was a pizza. I think it was a pancake though.
Yeah, I don't remember. By the way, the answer is 13.
13.
Wow. Because if you count the Galarians, I took out the 2. It's 15 total for Charlie, but you don't have anything to do with how I slept my way through college, as far as I'm aware. Right?
I do the lettering and I do the graphic design for that.
Okay, I take that back. So 15 then, Connor.
I was like,
I'm not as involved in that one as much as say like Galarian or whatever. But yeah,
it's funny because if you look at the bottom of this page, you see Hughes right there on the cover.
It could be a different Hughes.
That's true.
There are many.
Adam Hughes does the letters on this one.
there is another Hughes that I've heard of. So the second book you worked on with Charlie, though we could talk about White Ash all day, is my favorite book of Charlie's, which is the game.
Okay. Yeah, I have that literally in front of on my tablet right now. I'm nearly done with all the pencils and inks for issue 3.
Which
I
don't have a graphic for.
You have a graphic for the
game? No, I mean I don't have it on here. It's just pretend.
Yeah, the game is one of my favorite books that you and Charlie do. It's very different, but that first issue really blew me away, and even the second issue, just the tonality drastically changes, which I really like. For Charlie as a writer, watching him evolve, White Ash is told a certain way, and you get stuck in that way. Galarian's told slightly different, but it still feels like White Ash. But the game issue 1 and game issue 2, they're almost completely tonality different books, which I absolutely loved.
Thank you.
Which I thought was super fun and made it super interesting. Charlie and I just talked about it, and he recently found out that I'm a huge fan of Highlander. Mm-hmm. Like Highlander is like one of my favorite all time, and he's like, "That's why you like the game so much." And I was like, "Yeah, it could be." And then, fun fact that I just found out: Charlie lives in the apartment that he's 99% sure that Highlander was.
What? Wait, no, he might have said that years ago, but yeah, I had forgotten that. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
What?
Yeah.
Yes, Charlie claims, as far as he knows, he is in the apartment where Highlander was written because the guy who rented that apartment is the guy who wrote Highlander.
Interesting. That's neat. So he's channeling that energy
into the game.
There can only be one that writes in that apartment.
Right. Panzer, like maybe this is the game sequel. He's like really messed up Highlander 2. He's like, I can fix it. This was going to be Highlander 3. The ghost is in Charlie, and they're writing the game.
And you know what the pitch is for the game, right? It's Sam from Quantum Leap meets is the guy from Highlander, right?
So good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I always feel like, White Ash taps into a certain kind of nostalgia vibe that I have for like maybe first of all like fantasy, and then of course like this rural America kind of thing that is going on in that book, and then but the game taps into that into this I'm behind at the like maybe like a 25-year-old angst where you're like, I haven't, things have not gone the way I necessarily thought they were going to go in high school, and like I've really got to like up the game, and like everything is coming crashing down on you all at once. Like the stress of being an adult is like just not working out,
Right.
and so it just happens into a very different vibe for me, and I just love that about it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think if you ask Charlie, I'm the biggest game fan because often when he posts about White Ash, I'll go, "That's great, but let's talk about the
Yep.
game. Where is the game and the current process?" Even though I love White Ash,
I say
don't
where I'm
want
the other way
it.
because I can't get enough of. You give me any type of like, I love alternate history and then I love high fantasy, and it feels like White Ashes is just like perfect like marriage of like, oh, you could see that happening. It's like,
Right.
it's rural. It could happen. Why not? And I love it, and it makes me happy, and it's like a safe place, and
Well, an
it's super fun.
early focal point for White Ash was always Twin Peaks, and of course, Twin Peaks that occurs in this really small rural town, and I
Mhm.
feel like Twin Peaks really places you in a world where you can think almost anything happens because it's so isolated, and
Yeah, it's like
and to
we
some
wouldn't
degree
hear about it.
yeah, like no one would necessarily care about some
Yeah.
small town like that. Not that
Yep.
that should be the case necessarily, but like in general,
Mhm.
like things can kind of get away with I don't know, escaping notice from
Yeah,
people
it's right.
in
It's
a
the right
small town.
time period where somehow you could get away with it and everything. Whereas, like,
Right.
you watch, I'm going through Supernatural with my wife, and I'm like,
Mhm.
this doesn't work in the digital age. People would fucking know this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you're just doing that's in Ohio, like Cleveland. That's gonna get out, man. Like, but yeah, I love it. So Travis and but the game is it really surprised me.
Mhm.
If I'm honest, it's like, oh, the White Ash team's doing something different,
Mhm.
and it's one of those like, all right, we'll see, like, because
Well, and
you just see this team and you go, this is what they do, and then they move out, and I'm like, oh, this is a really good time. It's different and it still
so,
works, and I really like it.
Thank you.
so correct me if I'm wrong, Todd. You are a Scout Comics White Ash fan. You came from Scout and then
No,
jumped in. No, okay,
I had White Ash, and then much like some other people's works, when they got published somewhere else, I was like, okay,
got to do it
I'll pull it
again.
because I want to support. It's like this was a lot cheaper to support this second time around.
Right.
It's just cover price for a comic book.
Well, and you get
Sure,
extra
and there's
pages
more
though.
to it. And
Nice.
allegedly at the time it was like, this is going to be somewhat different, and it's like, and which was fun to be like looking at the first White Ash, like, this is shorter,
Yeah.
or this is longer.
Right.
Interesting. But no, I was in White Ash early on, uh, issue 4 or 5, something like
Hmm.
that. Nothing crazy. I was not an early adopter. It was like, hey, you looked at this other book that also had elves in it. You want to check this one
Well,
out?
one of the other things that I think that you guys did really well with the White Ash series is having a spinoff at the right
Mm.
time. Right. You know, a lot of people are like, we haven't even finished our first trade and they're on their third spinoff, right? We introduced a character in issue
Mhm.
3 and he's now. So doing that spinoff in Galarian, if you haven't read the book, you know, where she ends up and all that. I don't want to spoil it if people haven't read it. But being able to tell all that stuff is really, really cool. And that had to be pretty exciting, especially this is your first ongoing series and I already have a spinoff and spinoffs doing just as well as the series
Yeah, yeah.
itself. And
I mean, Romita does an excellent job on Galarian, and
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I think to some degree, we also didn't necessarily start out with the intention of creating a spin-off, but it was a great way to keep people, you know, keep making things that people wanted to read in the same universe, but not necessarily constrained by just having it be one artist or one pencil and inker, and it would be limited by that person's timeline, which is regrettably slower than all of us would like. So
Sure. I still see that your name's on this cover, though.
Lettering. I get lettering credit, and also, yeah, that's basically why I own.
You do a cover
And this
every
is.
every
I
single
also
chapter.
think that
For the
this.
most
I'll
part.
say this one will have a credit for you too for cover. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for the cover, yeah, yeah, that cover in particular, yeah. I also try and do the Kickstarter banner for most of them.
Ooh,
I eventually developed that approach where you would get the branching kind of like wrapping around style, and I like to do that with the while using the Kickstarter background to kind of like make it stand out from the series of boxes that I think Kickstarter has on their website, and just
really
create a
good.
different silhouette and shape.
Yeah, I really like it.
Thank you.
I'm just a graphic design nerd, so it's just I really appreciate that. I don't. It's nice to go on there and it's different. It's just fun. Even when I'm like, the wife isn't gonna like this one, I'll catch up next time, kind of thing. Where I'll still
Sure.
like scroll through and I'm like, this is real pretty.
Thank you. Hopefully it's not.
What'd you get, honey?
Nothing.
Hopefully it's not too. I don't necessarily think the banners have been too far
No.
gone, but
No.
Yeah.
No, it's nice. So
So, and
no, it's
Go
fine.
ahead.
Go for it.
I was going to skip to the covers. So
That's
did
what I
you
was
wanna-
gonna do.
Yeah, all right. So you've also done a lot of covers. I know you did. We don't have the graphic for it, but Nightwolf. I know you did one for
Yeah,
Nightwolf.
I
really,
love
really
that cover
like.
actually. I thought it came out really
Oh,
well. I mean,
I
like
didn't know that.
generally speaking, yeah.
He's got a great cover for Nightwolf.
We've
I
had.
love it. You
I've
do a
talked
lot.
to Nightwolf guy. Travis might have too.
Yeah, we did Keystone. I think it was Keystone Comic Con in like Philly. That's how we met each other, and it's been cool. It's been cool that we've been able to continue that relationship since then. Because I think that was like right before the pandemic. So like then we got to sort of like continue online eventually.
Nice. Which I think there's a Nightwolf campaign for anybody out there. I think it's
There
running
is
right
right
now.
now, yeah.
Go check out Nightwolf.
Check it out.
I actually remember asking him when I started. I was like, "You got a Conor Hughes cover? How'd you get it?" And he mocked me profusely and says, "What I did was I asked him." I was like,
I went, I have this money for goods and services. Are you
Right.
interested
I
in
was like-
providing goods and services?
Right.
I was like, "Interesting tactic. I'll have to try it one
Most of the
day."
time, I do work for money.
Ooh,
That's
interesting.
an effective
Um,
incentive program for me.
Crazy. Wow. All right.
and then you've done some for Nightmare Theater, but the one who shouts your name just as equally as Mr. Charlie is
There
Pat
he
Shand.
Yeah.
He talks about your covers.
Hey.
In fact, I would like to read a quote from Pat Shand from my Discord.
Oh,
if you'll
do
indulge
you have a pull? Do you have a pull quote from Pat Shand about Conor Hughes's work?
I do.
I love
I
it.
do.
Let's put it on the back of the book.
And I quote, "One of the best artists of our generation."
What? Wow. Okay.
That is. Would you like me to give you a screenshot of that and send that to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
New profile pic.
I'll make sure you get. I'll make sure you get that in your Twitter.
I can
But
show that to
yeah,
my wife.
you've
It'll
done-
help. It'll help around here. I'm sure.
See?
Honey, I have to work on comics tonight. I'm the best of a generation.
Yeah, I have a generation on my shoulders.
Generations end, honey. I gotta go.
I love it. Hey,
Yeah.
that's legit.
That Chad's very.
Yeah.
He's an excellent writer and very talented, and and
look at this cover.
Very generous with his compliments as well.
I have this book somewhere as well because I love me some Destiny New York. So, I just like spin-offs too.
Well, you did a cover for Private Dancer, and I remember sitting there talking to Pat. Pat and I were in the same room, and he was showing me a pre-launch. And I said, "Wow, that art looks just like Conor Hughes." He's like, "Yeah." Because it is Conor
Weird.
Hughes. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's neat."
Yeah, I think Finn did an excellent job on those colors as well. I thought they looked amazing.
So where did the Pat Shand relationship start?
Oh, I think through Charlie. Basically, Charlie and Pat are very close, and they do lots of like Twitter Spaces, and they sort of link up and they share each other's campaigns and so forth. So yeah, I mean, I think, and then of course
Kickstarter
then
Mafia guys.
we got to meet each other. I think I'm not sure if it was at San Diego. I think it was at San Diego Comic Con that we met for the first time. But then I think we also see each other at like New York Comic Con, and then yeah, and I think he's also come out to LA Comic Con as well. So yeah,
I really, really love the ring around the logo.
The coffee?
I love the coffee ring. I love it.
Yeah,
it's a great touch.
Mm-hmm. Really makes you feel like you're part of that, part of the barista crowd.
Yeah, and it just feels like it's already like, because it's already a comic book cover, and then the coffee ring happened because it was at like the coffee bar.
Of course.
It's great.
I think we even use that the sort like a similar coffee stain graphic on our credit pages for White Ash. I think I put that, if you look at the digital copy, like it's in there, and like where all the backers put their names.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Who doesn't like a good coffee ring on their pages?
I know. I'm a sucker for it. It's nice. Yeah. It's like, it's well loved.
I still remember the first Pat Shan cover as well. I think it's also Gangster Ass Barista, and it features like her diving over a car, exploding, and then like her face in the front. For that cover, I remember I was trying to channel like a very poorly a John Paul Leon thing, but
nice.
But yeah, no, he's been we've done a lot of covers together. It's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like you're in the staple. Like it's not every campaign, but it's pretty much every campaign. He does a lot. I mean, 3 at a time basically these days. You wouldn't be drawing the game right now if you had to keep doing patch coverage. But do you feel like you specialize in women? Sorry, my son is staying alive.
That's quite all right.
Classic Gibbs.
Right, classic Gibbs. Apparently.
I wouldn't really say that, like, in the sense that, definitely when I was, growing up or starting or like say in college or for the like 10 years after that or whatever it was, I was never like one of these like, oh, I need to draw the hottest women ever. And I wouldn't even, I like the women I draw, but I don't necessarily think they are like this like hyper, I don't know. There's a certain style that I think I bring to women that I don't think is like hyper sexualized. I try not to like do that kind of thing. But so yeah, I wouldn't say I specialize in that, but I working with Charlie, I've definitely pursued it as an interest.
You don't think you're getting a cover for Lady Death anytime soon, is what you're saying?
Hey, I mean,
once again, it's money. Yeah. I work for money.
Ryan Polito, if you're watching, Connor would like a cover.
I love the idea that it's Charlie. It's like, Charlie. He showed me what's up. It's good. Well, I think it's great. And there's something to be said about, I'm not big for like, I even talked to, I believe I asked, it was after we were done wrapping up, but I think I asked Pat Shand, to be fair, that's when I was drinking 4 or 5 beers during the episode because it was real loose. But I'm pretty sure I asked Pat Shand to sell me on Zenoscope. And he was like, well, it's because there's an actually good story underneath the cover that's making you feel like it's skeezy. And I feel like White Ash does ride that line of like, hey, it's a little sexy, but then you read it and you can just blaze through the whole thing. And then you go back and look at the art, because I feel like I read comics 3 times when I'm really into the story, because the first time I'm just like going from bubble to bubble, and then the second time I'm like, oh yeah, there's art showing it off. And it feels like, what people like, where it's a little like fun and it's a little like there's some scantily cladness going on, but oh my God, it's just so fucking good. Like,
yeah. you try to fully integrate all the personalities of a character, and a
yeah,
component of that is sexual, but like that's not
exactly.
necessarily their
It's
only
not
aspect.
the only front and center thing.
Right.
It's an onion.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
And we try and bring make things appealing for everybody, in the sense of like, there's lake scenes or whatever that may or may not be for with Alec and so forth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did you got some Pat Shan covers. You got some Image covers that have just come out recently.
None
one in
of
particular
we've heard about that, right?
Yeah. No, some indie book from Image.
Okay.
You seem to have gotten your hands on, and oh my god, it's so good.
Thank you.
And you got a couple of them, really. I should have done both of them up there, but in the intro, there is the two. Where did this come from, and how was this working on something slightly iconic?
It was definitely absolutely insane when I got that email out of the blue. Like I was just, and like I had no idea. Like I never met anybody from there particularly, or like, I just got an email from someone there, and they were like, "Oh, would you like to do a 6 connecting cover?" So first I figured out precisely what kind of cover that was, and and then I eagerly said yes, obviously. I love this. I love this period in the books. I read them at the time, like this period in particular, and of course I remember the TV series, and I thought it was the perfect for me. I thought it was like a really great opportunity to use the 6 panel style, like to create a journey across both. Like it's a journey across both space and time, in the sense that like where they are at the end is different than where they are at the beginning, like personality wise, character wise, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great opportunity to like do something really thematic with the challenge of the 6 cover thing. But it was definitely a difficult thing, because I was trying to do this like panorama, like with the background, fully integrated background. But it was a lot of fun.
It's epic looking, and I'll say I work at a comic book shop, and so I see people's pulls and things like that. I had multiple people who literally only they didn't buy in on full Walking Dead Deluxe, but there are Hughes connecting covers on multiple notes for multiple people, and they pulled it. I would say, since they don't pull the book in general, just for those covers, because it's excellent. It's really good, and it's really well done, and it really does fit that time period in the comics, because I was reading during this too.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
I mean, it's an excellent period in the comics, and so
it's a big time. I feel like this is when maybe I'm off, but it felt like this is when it was like at its height, and I heard the most buzz from people talking about it, and it was starting to become like, oh, it's a thing. Like it's a real thing.
Yeah, right. This is kind of like the TV show just got announced year, like I feel like it's around this time when the TV show was announced that it was coming, around this.
So everyone was
it really? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all of a sudden the shop is having to stock like 20 more because people are coming in just to get the book.
It was season 2 when Glenn dies, and you're at 72, which is pretty.
Whoa!
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. That's like the biggest spoiler. I mean,
whoa!
Everyone loves Glenn.
They couldn't do that.
Sorry, guys, for those who are just catching up with the deluxe that are on issue 72.
This is their first time through going with the deluxe.
Yeah.
I
what better way to start?
Like a bad one too. Like remember those solicited covers that were for the stuff. He continues on Walking Dead Deluxe. He's like, you should have kept going.
You should have done it.
All those are coming out.
Oh man. But yeah, this is such an epic time, and I really feel like you did it such justice. Like,
and it's such a level up.
Yeah.
It definitely was, and I really dedicated myself to those covers in a way that like to make the shot work and stuff like that. And I think it sort of like it worked out. Hopefully,
Do you ever work in those proportions in comics ever? Like, that's quite the panorama Do you ever actually get to work
No, yeah,
in
yeah,
that?
very rare. I mean, like if you were to do that on a single panel, like you wouldn't.
It'd be
It
so
would have to be
small.
very. It'd be
Right.
very small, and maybe you might do it across double pager,
Sure.
But even then, it would still be like the size of a. I got the page in front of me. I'd say it's about 2/3. So if you
Yeah.
did 2/3 of the page down
You have
and
to
then
do one of those
across,
graphic
it'll work.
trifolds that come out
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, a
and flip.
gatefold or a gatefold? Just
Yeah.
At some point, I'm gonna have to work like find out the word for a 6 cover thing because there's triptych for 3, but I don't know
yeah.
the like is it hexadic,
Hex stick?
which is like just cut there, cut.
Yeah, that's it.
It seems good. Seems good. Seems good. So Connor, like, has Skybound offered you anything else that you can tell us that you may have?
Well, we also had the Void Rivals cover come out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
hey.
which I
The
had a lot of
Walking Dead
fun.
Void Rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead Void Rivals, and then from there we will see. But,
Oh, that was also had a few people.
Now,
on
so
the
did
polls
you know
list who
about
got
Void
all of
Rivals
those.
before it was launched to make deadline and stuff?
no, I think it was already like very much out in the ether
Okay.
at the time when I was working on that cover. Yeah,
Hmm.
but it's only picked up Steam as far as I know. So
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
I pull it. I got this one.
I mean, Lorenzo De Felice he's just an amazing artist. So, or sorry, like there reverse that, but yeah, no, he's actually definitely one of my like source points as far as inspiration goes, like for modern artists. He's
That's
excellent.
cool.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Oblivion Song, for instance, is like
Oh my
is
god.
incredible. Obviously,
It's so good.
yeah. So
Yeah, Oblivion Song is. Oh man, yeah.
I mean, that's
so
Robert Kirkman's skill. Its secondary skill is picking out artists who bring stuff like, Outcast.
good.
There's so
Oh
many
yeah.
dark
Oh
shadows in
man.
that, and it has its own voice and feel to Outcast issue. Even if you don't like the concept, you're like, what is this? Like, nothing is like this on
Mhm.
the shelf. Like, the art is speaks for
Yeah.
itself. Same as Void Rivals, same as Oblivion Song. Absolutely.
Welcome
yeah,
to Comic Book Level Up, Skybound Fancast.
yeah. Paul Seca he's an amazing artist as well. He's
Jeez.
just got
Yeah.
such an excellent style, and it just perfectly matches that subject matter as you just said. Like
Mhm.
he obviously Kirkman
Oof.
has a skill, and then for picking out artists, like I also love Corey J. Walker's work. Obviously Ryan Otley's work. Definitely Corey J. Walker was a big inspiration for early White Ash, and
Mm.
then in general though, I
Yeah.
think as an artist, it's possibly less wise to like try and really integrate particular artists into your work as opposed to sort of saying, well, maybe I could just be me instead.
Sure.
But yeah, no, he's Corey J. Walker's just incredible.
What's that like though? Because especially with comics, I do you have a hard time making sure you're carving out your own niche since there's a lot of comics out there and
Right.
there is a lot of great art. I do feel like I can look at White Ash. You could show me some new White Ash and I think that I would be able to be like, oh, that's Hughes. That's White Ash. I haven't read that yet, but it looks great. Do you find yourself having to like make sure that you're not too influenced? Is that a conscious effort?
I think it's a conscious effort to like you have to sort of develop your own style in some sense, but my experience is also that you have to let yourself be your own style also. Like, it will come out and it will come out maybe with more time. Some people I think are really, really able to develop a style like instantly.
Sure.
And they just like, they hit like a young age and they sort of like know exactly what they want. And that's excellent. I think, I wish, it would be a much easier time. I think if sort of I did that as well, but I can't. I'd love many different things. And what I've always tried to do is integrate lots of different things that I just enjoy about various, like I've always tried to like, I like manga, I like European stuff, I like Mobius, I like, all kinds of different styles. And I really try and, assimilate what I want from all of those things into a single thing. But the problem with that as a basic theory is that, there's contradictions, and so you have to like find out ways to massage those contradictions.
And through that, you find your style.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it takes depending on how fast a person is, it can take time.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't feel like I don't feel like that's something that I. It's kind of like life. You kind of have to be your own person, but you're going to be influenced by your parents and people that you look up to, and bad influences, all that. And you kind of like become your own person, but then like you say something, you're like, oh, that's totally what my dad would say. And
yeah.
And other times, so that's interesting. It makes sense that your art would kind of come about the same way. You like these different things and you try to make your own mark.
Right. Yeah, because ultimately, if like I when I was in college, I loved Hugo Pratt, who's an Italian artist from like 70s roughly.
Yeah.
And like collecting his books was super expensive at the time. It's very difficult. But I loved his style. And then so at the time I wanted to make a project that was in that style. And I did. But it wasn't successful because like you can't just like try and ape this person. Like and I wasn't necessarily trying to ape it, but I mean, I was definitely like, let me try and take cues from this person and try and integrate that into my thing. And, you're not going to succeed if you try and like literally recreate another artist, even if you love them,
Yeah. That's a good level up advice. Be yourself, but also be willing to like be influenced.
Yeah. Yeah, and also in that regard, like as far as leveling up goes, like you want to use reference. Like so, if you think of another artist also as a form of reference in a certain sense, for like style wise or whatever. But in the same way that if you're using reference for an image or a drawing or a scene, copying it like verbatim is not going to work. Like it's just going to be in my opinion, it's going to be ugly in some sense.
It's going to be less than in some aspect,
right? And so you have to sort of integrate those what you have in your mind, and then possibly what's in the reference, and in a similar way, you have to do the same thing with the artist styles. Yeah,
that's cool.
Man,
I like it. Do we want to do questions, Travis? I feel like we're at that
so,
point.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Because you have any more of the game questions before we move on?
I think we've leveled up and we've got all the basic stuff done. You almost made Todd cry, which is a first for the show, which is nice. I saw him really touched by the art. I thought you were.
I love it.
You're close.
No, okay. To be fair, it takes very little to make me cry.
That's true.
I'm a very emotional person, and that's just going to happen. But we haven't talked to too many artists, so I enjoy getting to.
Well, and the artists that we talked to, like a Smelky, like he has a persona.
Well, cool. So I'm saying Schmelky's like, he's his own person.
Yeah, he's got his own force of will. I'm pretty laid back or whatever. So, yeah.
But I was thinking while you guys were talking, because it's just the way my brain works. I'm just like, but
are you an overthinker somehow?
Sometimes. I was like, but Rob Liefeld just had a bunch of people who look like him, so he could simulate his art forever. And that's what he did. But as I thought about that, though he did absolutely do that, as he's grown and remade these things like Youngblood or Bloodstrike, it's all drastically different how you'll never think it's Rob Liefeld. So it's really interesting. As I thought about that, yes, he absolutely did. Like, there was a time where you could not tell the difference between Dan Fraga or Rob Liefeld. You couldn't tell the difference, unless Dan Fraga was there going, hey, that's me. Oh, see, it says Fraga in the corner. Fraga, boom. Oh, cool.
Right.
But watching that grow, even someone who's doing that, even though that was kind of his business model, it's really unique. And I love getting artists, challenging artists when I'm doing a comic. Hey, I need this character in kind of a different style. Can you do that? And love watching what an artist can do and what they have if the scene needs it. So it's just that's where my thought was going. I figured I'd share before we go into questions.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think regarding the example you gave before, I think when people are working under a deadline,
right,
like that's also going to change, like because they might be taking shortcuts or might be checking what's the most effective route to like to make this image, as
Right.
opposed to necessarily like hemming and hawing in the way that maybe some people that are on Kickstarter projects like allow themselves to do a little bit too much. They do. So yeah.
You know, some specific Kickstarter artists.
So I don't know. There might be a few around.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I mean, it's way harder. You know, I looked at one of my Kickstarters and it underperformed, and I was just like very frustrated that it underperformed. But then I looked at it and I realized that I didn't have amazing concepts to give these artists for covers, so they all kind of looked the same because I gave them that kind of same thing, and it looked like it on the page. Like individually, they all looked great. They're amazing covers, but no one's going to be like, I'm going to buy 4 covers when they kind of all look the same. And I'll even mention it was Breaking Edge. Like the covers just they all kind of look the same. Great covers, they just all look the same. Individually, they all stand out great. And I think that that's the key. And I think that's one of the things that you and Charlie do great. You know, the selection of covers you can get on a Galarian or a White Ash. You know, you are not going to repeat. You know, they feel different. You know, it's adding a different section of the book, but it all reflects the source material every time.
I think it's an easy decision each time. I just get the Hughes, and I'm set. But
you can get the Hughes and you can get other ones if you want.
I know that's when it becomes difficult. It's like, oh, why is there an option for A and another variant here?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charlie's definitely intuitively grasped that is what you want to do on any given campaign. You definitely want to differentiate the various covers that you're going to get or the various packages you're going to get. We try and also like offer something a little something new, like a tchotchke of some kind. Like, you know, we did the pins and we do cards and we do various things. Like, you know, if you are coming back, you know, what's new maybe that like, you know, that you might like, you know, just creating novelty for people that are coming back for each campaign, making each campaign in some sense feel special, because, you know, that is what Kickstarter is. Like each project, you know, even if it's a continuing series, should feel special. You know, this isn't just I don't want to say just like running to the store and like picking up the next issue, but it is something a little bit different because people are paying more, and you know, in some sense, they should get a little bit more for that, for all that extra fun.
Yeah, those little extras. That's nice.
Yeah.
Or if you want to spend a lot getting, because you do the sketch covers.
Yeah.
Each time too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for the hardcover that Travis has, it was we also did book plates.
Oh, so nice. So you can. Oh, you have a lot to sign.
Yeah, I'll show you. So we have these.
Yeah.
We sort of print up these stickers, and you can we'll put them on the books.
Yeah, and you can put them on there. That's cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, I am probably I would assume that I'm in Charlie's top 5 of people he talks to. You don't get them for free. You got to buy it. See, there's nothing. I didn't pledge for that tier. I didn't get it for free. So
you don't get it.
You don't get it. So like,
buy in.
Just befriending Charlie's not going to get you this. You gotta pay the cash.
You don't sell out. You buy in.
You don't sell out. You buy in.
We speak one currency here on Kickstarter.
Yeah. And it's pledge dollars. Let's go.
Yeah. But I think it's time for the questions, my good sir.
Yeah.
You want me to start?
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, we can start alternating. Even though we did it the same way for almost a year, you decided to change it last episode. So.
Just for funds.
You go first this time.
All right. So the question for you, Connor, is what do you think makes you stand out in the comic book market?
I mean, that's a difficult question to me off the top of my head. Let's see.
But you exude confidence and like just.
And remember when we asked you if you've seen the show? This is punishment for not. It's
yeah.
I need a little more runway with that question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the simplest answer is if you can see it, if you see what's distinct in the drawings or whatever, if you see what's distinct in the style, then you see it, and then it's there for you. If you don't, that's okay. But I mean, what precisely? is
I'll
meat.
say that's a little bit of a cop out. Come on, there's
Okay.
if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. I mean, what
There,
makes
there's
it
a
unique?
My answer there is like if you it's there on the page, and
No,
it like
all right.
just putting words to that is not really
So if
gonna
you can't,
help
if
you.
someone can't tell how awesome you are,
Well, I mean,
it's on
if it's not
them.
for you, it's not
Now,
I
why
mean,
did
yeah.
All right,
Skybound call you? That's basically what we're asking. Why did Skybound
that
call
is
you?
a really
Like,
good point right there. I believe you just were on a pretty iconic book and were given multiple covers for it. There had to be a reason.
I think there's I will say, because I've come to integrate like a lot of different kinds of styles over the years in what I'm presenting here on the page. I do think it's different, but also isn't um, pursuing a what's it called, like a gimmick.
Mm.
I don't think like my work is like particularly gimmick
Hmm.
oriented, which some artists do, and that's fantastic when
Hmm.
it works. But I try and keep to sort of like a more realistic. I can put
There's
the
a word.
camera. I can put the camera where I need to,
Hmm.
which is um, what you can do in a more realistic style.
Hmm.
But also I try and like bring the softness or the
Mm.
expression that comes with a more cartoony approach.
Yeah, there's a good word for you tiptoed around a word that would really well like describe all of that,
Yeah.
and it's a
Uh,
timeless style. You
I'm not
kind
gonna
of
say that.
described a timeless style. It's not gimmicky. It's it's fluid, but it has a distinct
Mm.
air to it. But
Well,
it's
now I'm going to reverse my
really
statement. That's not at all what I meant.
yeah. So,
I'm going to strike that. I'll get back to you
and
because
I would agree with that. It is a very timeless style. I feel like it's not one of those things that you'll look back and be like, "Oh, we liked that." Oh boy, it. I think it'll hold up very well.
but
So I agree with you. So while you're finding out your style and you're trailblazing through Kickstarter and finding footings and doing a lot of things that aren't like natural to the comic book industry, I'm assuming it hasn't been just a bed of roses the entire time. When work is tough, when life decides that it doesn't want you to be a comic book artist, when Kickstarter isn't all you hoped it would be, when it gets difficult, what makes you keep going?
uh, for me, it's always been um, looking at beautiful work and just being inspired by that. I mean, like, that's why I made the unwise decision to go to art college, which was already putting me in, like setting me on. And my wife, by the way, my wife also went to art college with me, and we both sort of set ourselves on this path of like we knew it was going to be difficult. We maybe didn't know quite how difficult, but we knew it was going to be difficult. And it's always been just I guess a love of like media, you know, and you just get inspired by that. But I do think to give a different answer, like you can't rely just on inspiration all the time. I don't think it does require you to sort of like develop a discipline or a habit that creates a desire to put the time in, to put the work in, because um, you're going to need that. Because there's definitely going to be days where no one wants you to work around you, or you don't feel like working, or you're sick, and things need to happen. So, yeah, creating good habits, I think, is an important part of that.
A good routine?
Yeah, yeah. Like lately, what I've been really enjoying doing is I used to do a lot of. I used to try and start my day with some life drawing, but my more recent habit has been to doing these like book plates. It's been really good. But
What's
keeping
involved in that? Like, if you don't have a project for the day, or that's how you warm up, is working on
that's just
something like that.
just some kind of warm up, something that's easy to get you started. Like work. I always loved life drawing. So that's definitely a source point of inspiration for me. And then but also if you need to exercise the muscles of like working from memory, that's where like just doing some, like I said, the sketchbook plates are like a great way to do that for me right now. But maybe years ago it might have been just doing sketchbook, like real life sketch drawing, as opposed to I normally work on digital, and it
So it's a true sketchbook plate, like it's actually from your sketchbook.
He
sorry,
sketches on the plate.
No, I know,
I'm
but
referring to the book plate. When I say the book plate, I mean these things that go on the sticker for the
yes,
hardcover. But
and those
also
are not, those aren't digital.
no, these aren't digital. These are I'm drawing. Each of these are like unique drawings or whatever.
Yeah, so it's, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I misinterpreted that completely, because
I
when I
probably
hear,
just it wasn't clear
no, it's fine.
I'm
When I
not
hear
normally clear.
sketchbook and anything, I just assume
Mm-hmm.
it's a digital drawing that's sketched, and then
Mm-hmm.
they like print it out, and here's like 50 of them.
Sure.
Those are unique that you are drawing
Mm-hmm.
on there and then sending out as book
Yeah, they're like
plates.
a sketch, like
That's
imagine like a sketch cover, but
that's
on a book plate. Because
really
we
cool.
what we wanted to avoid doing
Shit,
was
that's really dope.
yeah, it's a really good idea.
Oh man.
Charlie's idea. It's really good because that way,
Whoa.
because normally that would mean he would have to send me the sketchbooks,
Yep.
sketch
And then
covers,
it's shipping
and
again,
then
and
I got to ship it them again,
yep.
and then of course shipping it to the people. But in this
Yep.
case,
And
you
that's
can just
something
ship those.
heavier being shipped a bunch of times instead of
Yeah, yeah,
here's
you can't.
from the mass.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so smart.
yeah, you can't do that at all with a hardcover. Like if I was
No.
shipping like 100 hardcover, and we
Oh
did that. We did.
God.
I think for the hardcover ish. I was sending those out directly, but that was at the time I was just doing it inside the front papers.
Sure. Yeah.
But we only did a few of those because it was just so expensive
'Cause it's a
for the
lot.
shipping.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's such a smart way to get around that and still have it be an original and all of that.
Yeah,
That's
and
neat.
plus, of course, with
That's
the sketch
cool.
plates, you can work. You can send it around to more people. Like, yeah, I
Hmm.
live in the U.S., so that
But it
kind of
can
works
go.
ish. But
Yeah.
we can also send them to Romina, who's obviously the Galarian artist,
Yep.
and so
And you're
that's
not
what
paying
that's
for
where
a
people really want.
hardcover overseas and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's
Well,
really smart.
I think it's really cool too.
That's
When you're
neat.
at
I like
cons
that a
too,
lot.
you can add something.
Hmm.
Someone
That's
could
cool.
request a character or whatever for it, and you could do it for their stuff, at a price if
yeah,
you
sure,
would. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But as far
That's
as
neat.
like getting back to the original question,
Oh yeah.
just like having that sketch habit that's
Hmm.
easy. It
Yeah.
has to, because like working on comics, creating like the composition you want or like the shot you want. There's definitely times when like I'm banging my head against the wall trying to figure out how am I going to get all the things I want into the shot. How am I going to get this character's face, but also the nuance of the fact that this other character, say, I don't know, feels rejected or something like that, and
Hmm.
then what's happening in the background possibly. Like I try and layer in events into the panels, so that it's not just a single beat happening.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
that way you want subtext to everything, because if
Yeah.
like it's like dialogue, right? Like if you have a piece of dialogue where everyone's just stating their goals, and then that there's no other dimensionality to it, it's not really that interesting.
What's
But if you have
yeah? What's the
subtext,
point? Yeah.
that's where interesting things actually happen, which is underneath the surface. Anyway, um,
That's neat.
No, I
I
so
like
love
that.
it.
yeah, if you're having trouble with like a panel or whatever, you need something easy to start your day, or like to
Hmm.
to even like relax your mind a bit and back into. Like I think every artist probably like they just like automatically draw eyes. For instance,
Yeah.
like I think most people probably do that. Like they probably just like want to doodle like an eyeball or like an expression. If you can just go back to that like the save space or whatever that
Hmm.
you might have for that, and then you come back to the comic book like panels proper. I think that's a good habit too.
It's kind of like forcing yourself to get fresh eyes on the situation, and
Yeah.
that's neat. And then get your muscle memory in.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I should
All
apply
right.
that to my life probably in some way.
So this is a big one. We tried to get this out of you earlier, Connor. But we're
Okay.
going to ask again in a different way.
Why are you great? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
That's not-
What does leveling up in comics look like for you?
Everyone?
Oh, sorry, something's happening. I don't know.
Is there double audio there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from though.
It's okay. It's giving me runway, so that's okay.
Yeah, give me a second. I gotta figure out where it's coming from.
Oh no, you have to give Connor some time to.
Oh no. Yeah.
Do you just mute yourself? Perfect.
Well, so like, is the
I found
idea
it.
like what are my ambitions as far as comics go, or
Yeah,
like
What's a level up look like for you?
Yeah, for me, my goal is to write something at the big two. Like that's my goal. I'm not going to quit till I write for the big 2
Mm-hmm.
two. That's not everybody's goal. In fact, that was one of the first lessons that I needed to learn because everyone views comics as competition sometimes. And then I'm talking to somebody like, I have no desire to do anything besides my Kickstarter book. And I'm like, but really? And they're like, I was like, you're really good. You sure? Like, no. He's like, I'm good. Like that was a big reality check. So when I started this, like that was one of the conversations I wanted to have is because leveling up looks so different for everybody. So what does that look up for you now that you've worked at one of the biggest companies on one of the biggest properties? Well, what's next? What would be a level up from that?
What would make you go, I've definitely gotten higher up in the comics game?
Well, I mean, so I think there's two questions there. It's like, what would be an increase? What would increase like sort of my status as an artist? Maybe is that's part of the question. And the other question is, what are my goals as far as like personal goals?
Yeah, it's more like
right
here. What do you want, and what would be a level up to you? Not necessarily the status outside, but what would be your level up?
My personal level up would be trying to get books out faster. I think that is the thing I need to do next. It certainly should have been something that I've been developing in previously, but I think in general speed, getting to a point where I can you know make work that I'm happy with at a faster pace is something that like if I can do that, I think I will meet the success that I wish to accomplish, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of.
Do you think that's inhibited by the fact that you don't think you can do art that you're happy with?
I definitely think some artists. I think all artists to some extent maybe experience this some more than others, where they like self censor, where they they can deprecate. It is good to be critical of yourself. So it is a tough balance, like because if you're sort of like if you accept everything you do, you don't necessarily grow. And I think part of the reasons why I think I've gotten substantially better from issue one to like each subsequent issue. I think in fact gets better, and I think part of the reasons why is because I'm critical, but that also does increase speed. So
are you trying to find a happier medium, still critical? So you're trying to find that happy medium of still critical, but like it's also good, so we can move on, so we can tell the story quicker.
But I think also just as you get better, you don't have to be as critical of yourself.
Oh, so you do think that there's a plateau for you where you're happy, or sorry, not necessarily a plateau, but like you don't feel like you're at the point you want to be to find that happy medium yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think,
which is good.
You can reach a point striving. Where you're satisfied enough that you don't have to hate yourself for that one drawing. I think because that can happen, right? That can happen where you're like, that thing, like, what was I even thinking? Like, because you can really be blind to your own, to like, because I mean, anyone who's drawn, they'll remember when they're a kid and they're like, I drew that one thing and it was effing awesome, and it was like, and like, no, it's like just as like a professional or something like that. Like and of course, you're like 12 or 10 or whatever it is, and like it's nowhere even close.
Look at this Spider-Man I drew.
You can really just blind yourself to what like what a thing looks like. And so for instance, like for artists, like it's always good to flip your art, because that way you come out with fresh eyes, and you'll see like, oh, the eyes are just like completely in the wrong direction, and like the mouth is like completely awry and all that kind of thing. So
I got a question for that to add to that, because I have an artist friend who worked for Marvel in DC. Have you ever, and he does this all the effing time, it drives me crazy. Have you ever saw like, for instance, let's take White Ash for example. You did a cover then you see the other covers in, you want to redo your cover because you saw that other covers and you need to get there. I have a friend who's done several covers to me, had to redo them because he felt like the other person did it better, just because he always wants to do the best he can for the project.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's been my impulse. Not because like, oh, there are. I mean, obviously there are better
Yeah, I
covers
wouldn't say
that are
he's
on
his
our
better.
projects, but
Just, he could do better.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but either way, like it's more. My feeling is always more self directed. Like, oh, I think I can do better, or you know. But like, I know that there's way better artists out there, and there's going to be better artists that are working on other covers, like for White Ash, for instance, and like to some degree, you can accept that. Uh, as just that's going to be because like obviously there's just tons of talent out there that's so good. So, generally, it's not when I look at other people's like work and I compare it directly in that sense, but it's more like, well, am I happy with that cover, or like, do I have more time to fix it? Like, probably not. So I
But
just try and move
but
on.
no one out there is going to make a better Hughes cover than you.
Yeah, I think,
And that's what's important about, and that's where I'm sad for your friend a little bit, Travis, because like comparing artists, if you found your style and everything, that is going to be the best version of that cover that can be done because it's a Hughes cover and no one's going to be able to do the Hughes cover better than Hughes.
yeah,
Like,
it's tough. It's tough to come to that like kind of
no, I'm
like
sure.
confidence.
I
or,
don't
like,
have that in life at all. But that's the ideal, I suppose.
Yeah.
So we have a possible final question. It's 3 with a possibility of 4. You kind of just said, it feels like you just said, well, that's what you want your next level up to be. What do you want? You're looking back, you're on your yacht, you're sipping Mai Tais,
Yeah.
and you look back. What do you want to do? What like impact or level up in comics is an ideal or a goal, aspiration? What would you like to do? Like, for example, Pat Shand is like, I want to get to the point where I can bring other people up and bring other creators into the fold and let them create and give them the opportunity. Others have said things like, I want to get...
That's a great answer. I should steal that.
I think it's tough to beat.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, Connor, he said, I want to be a millionaire.
Yes.
So I can give my
so he can do that. So he wants,
Yeah.
and that's why I started with the whole yacht thing. Like, I want lots of money and success, and then I want to be able to help people.
Right. He there's a certain level he needs to be at before he's willing to help people, which I respect.
I'll give a gushy, sort of maybe a sappy answer. Like I remember reading, when I would read or reread, say Usagi Yojimbo over and over and over and over and over again back in like high school or whatever, or earlier, and I just remember like how much as a kid I loved like being able to go back into that world and like enjoy it and like be able to experience the story again and create those kinds of strong affectionate memories. And that happens over the course of say a longer series to where someone can really sink their teeth into. So that that's where I want to be as far as like like at the end I want to be able to say like, okay, I've created like this body of work that people can really tap into and love. Like there's lots of series I think out there that we all have. I think anyone that's into comics or into various media,
any
where they just have this
media.
that's like your home.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I want to create.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
That's a decent answer. It's not quite a Pat Shand answer, but it's
it's really good. You want to inspire and like give a home to people and make a safe space for people, and like I love it. That's nice. That's right up there with Pat Shand. I'm going to use that as an example too in the future.
Yeah, it will be with somebody who is a real jerk and be like, don't you?
Yeah,
we had Conor Hughes and he
this
just wanted to be nice.
Hughes said.
Well, see, you've already dissipated like any of the jerky answers because you've already got the yacht. So
yes,
I mean,
right?
Like, yeah.
Perfect. I think that's
it.
That's it. Until next year, because we'll have
The leveling up doesn't stop. This is Dark Souls. This is Dark Souls, and I'm going for New Game Plus.
Yeah, we're at a bonfire right now.
Yeah.
And come back.
But thank you so much for being on. We're going to call this our year episode.
Yeah.
We're going to call it our year episode. And thank you for coming up and talking to you. Really, like, truly, you're an amazing artist. You're intimidating. Like when I go back to that story where I talk about asking my friend, how did you get a Conor Hughes? Like, you're one of those people who you don't ask because of your talent. You're like, he's too busy. He's too good. Like I would ruin his reputation if he was on my book. So I don't want that. You are an immense talent. You're one of the best, of a generation, as Pat would say. You're a fantastic artist.
Well, I'm just gonna, my DMs are open.
Hey.
I am increasingly getting now more busy, but
nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to
well deserved
to receive any kind of inquiries or whatever. So,
sweet. I'll hit you up.
And of course, first of all, thank you for the very kind compliment. It's very gracious. Thank you very much. But
you are the artist of one of my favorite books because of the whole package. So well deserved. And
thank you for you gotta get Finn on, and then Romina maybe.
Yeah, we'll do the whole thing. Yeah,
every November we'll have one on.
Yeah, it'll still be going, so that should work.
But
amazing.
I think it's gonna wrap us up, Todd.
I think we've leveled up. I feel leveled up in both mind and soul.
Yeah, we have leveled up. I do want to mention before we go, because we always just play the outro and go, and then we never add anything. Granite State Punk, the cover.
Hit up that Kickstarter,
we
y'all.
We always forget.
We do, and you always say it afterwards.
Yeah, granitestatepunk.com.
I think it looks lovely, by the way. The campaign looks great.
Thank you.
The book looks great,
Let's fucking go.
It means the world to me. It is literally the best thing I've ever written. So judge me by this book. Buy this book and judge me accordingly, because it is fantastic. I'm very proud of it. I put my heart and soul into this issue, as I do every issue, but this is the one. This is the one that when I read it, I was like, I beat. It's really hard to beat the first issue because you know everything you're going to say. And when the second issue I wrote it, I was like, all right, I wanted to try something new. With the third, I was like, I get what this audience wants, and I'm super excited. Issue 3.
1 and Breaking Edge were dope.
Get
fucking excited about this one. Catch up if you haven't, because it's fucking punk. Let's go.
And if you message me, I'll give you the first 12 pages. I have it. It's not on the Kickstarter.
Boom.
So, but that's it.
I'm going to hit you up after this, Travis.
But thanks for leveling up with us, Conor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me.
Play that outro, Todd.
Bye.